The title of this movie is Transform Deluxe. And that's because we're going to hit some transform things on the toolbar. To take transformations a little bit further, explain some things on the side that maybe you've been looking at but not quite sure what they do. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this, but it'll be good. Before I get started, I want to show you a trick that a classmate of yours showed me, Steven. This is Bomber. Check out my rounded rectangle shape tool with all the other tools there. When I was going through these and I was showing you different ways to do polygons and stars, and I touched on the rectangle tool about how to change the radius of those rounded corners. Man, Steven found out, or knew, whatever, that if I draw a rectangle while I'm still drawing, if I press the up arrow on my keyboard, I get rounded rectangle corners to whatever my liking. It's so awesome. Down makes them go smaller. And then if, excuse me, if you press right, it goes to the maximum roundness at the current size of rectangle that you've drawn. So if it went smaller, boy, always. I think I'm allergic to tutorials. It'll change every time you make it smaller. And then if you go left, it goes to the minimum, back to square. So up and down to change those rounded rectangle diameters or radius. Super sweet. Thanks, Steven. I love those. Seriously, I'm allergic to these little things. Don't save. Now, you'll find on Moodle under this week's exercises a piece of toast. It's funny. I gave you toast on Moodle. You know, the people in the IT department didn't think it was possible. But thanks to the ingenuity and inspiration of Willy Wonka, we've been able to give you toast through the Moodle system. I'm not going to explain how it works, but it's pretty magical. Here's my toast. My toast is a very simple path that I created with the pencil tool. It has a brown stroke and a light brown center. This would be a whole wheat slice of toast. Anyways, a couple things that I want to talk about with this slice of toast. We know that when we have our selection tool activating an object, you can, go to the bounding box handles and do scale changes and rotate, that sort of a deal. Well, there's a few tools over here in the toolbar just for transformation. One of them is the rotate tool. If you click on that thing, you have a little crosshair. That crosshair can be moved if you grab it at the right spot. There we go. So we can rotate. I think I went over this before. Can't really remember. You can also double click on it, set the angle that you want, and so on. Hidden behind this is the reflect tool. The reflect tool, it's pretty killer. No, it's not that killer. I use it a lot though, and that makes it killer. If you just were to click on an object that was selected with this tool, you can change the pivot point basically, but if you click around that thing, it reflects the image. So it's flipping it. It's not rotating it, it's actually flipping it, either vertically or horizontally. You can click and drag and see it. But it does flip. Why would I use this? I would use it to make duplicates is how I usually end up using it. So if I double click on this thing, you have what axis you want to reflect on, and maybe I want to do a horizontal flip, but I also want to copy it. So I'll hit copy. Gives me a duplication of it, and before too long I can have a mirrored object, or a shadow, or I can start doing this like many times in a row and just rotating these things in different degrees, and I have like a bread snowflake. Who would have thought that'd be possible too? Anyways, the reflect tool is nice. It doesn't just rotate it, it actually flips it. That's all you have to know. Then we come down to a transform tool, scale tool, where if an object is selected, you can do scale changes without needing handles. So wherever you grab and how, whoa, I'm going to go this way, and stretch this thing, you can get a scale change without needing to drag on handles. Undo. Scale also comes with shear, which allows you to slope your object. And then a reshape tool. The reshape tool, this one, I don't really like the reshape tool because I never really figured it out. Isn't that terrible? Why haven't I figured out the reshape tool? Greg, what is it doing? You know what? Screw the reshape tool. Who needs it? I'm getting more dots along the path, but I can do that with my Pen Plus tool. I'm sure I'm, totally doing something here that, yeah, see, this is how useful the reshape tool is. It's really great. I'm going to undo, 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 undo. Oh, hey, hi. Redo. So that's the reshape tool. It's got, you know what, I've made it work before. Kind of embarrassed I can't make it work right now. But you know what? It just goes to show you how worthless that tool might be. Because if I don't use it, why would you use it, right? Sorry. Anyways, we'll get into some other ones below it. We have the width tool. Now this is kind of cool. It's a cool tool. See if I can do this with, make it a little bit bigger. So the width tool allows me to go along the stroke of this piece of bread, and I can click anywhere and start dragging in an outward direction, and I'm basically defining the width of my stroke in a sort of variance from one main point to the next. I could add a point down below and make it a little bit more narrow, and then I could flare out my top over here, but then come in and maybe flange it a little bit less, maybe bring this out a little bit, and before too long I've got this stylish piece of toast. No longer just a plain old boring piece of toast. It's actually a piece of toast that's going to catch some eyes and won't be on that plate for very long. What's really happening here is we're adjusting the appearance of the stroke. This is kind of a tough one to tweak once you've already tweaked it. So to go back and get it back to normal would be a little difficult without just going and kind of starting over. But it's really sweet. There is hidden underneath this a warp tool. The warp tool allows us to, now this is where it makes much more sense than the reshape tool, because you can actually like push your lines around. With the warp tool you can extend your paths past certain spots and just kind of warp this thing into a different shape. So that one makes sense. In fact, you can double click on it, you can get into your brush dimensions, how much warp you're doing, and if you're simplifying the path or not. And the show brush size is nice because, nice little trick here, if you hold down Option or Alt and click up or left or right, you can see that you can change the shape size of your brush, which is handy for doing some warping stuff. And then we have our twirl tool. Ugh. Thanks, Adobe, for putting this in there, because my designs were just never good enough without a little a little twirl. That's pretty sweet. So it's a twirl. If you hold down Alt or Option, no, it goes in the other direction, but you have to click first and then push the key down, otherwise you'll get your brush size thing. Go away, curls. Okay. Pucker is going to bring things in towards the middle of your brush. It's not the greatest example to use, but you'll see that if you go to the corners of the bread, it'll kind of pucker it inwards, and it's okay. Redo width. Okay. The bloat does the opposite. It pushes out, so it'll extend the path based on your brush size and how long you hold down your mouse or whatever it is you're using. Scallop tool will, this one's a sweetie. Scallop your edges. Really, I don't know. I really don't know. Can I say that I've never used it? No. I think maybe it's come in handy once. But, yeah, you know. It basically just allows you to reshape the path. Crystallize is the same thing, but instead of going inwards, it goes outwards and sort of spikes and crystallizes your path. Crystallizes. I'm just using the word of the tool. Doesn't really describe what it does, but you can see it happening. Really not that useful. Wrinkle will sort of tweak and distress your path depending on how hard or how long you hold on the path. So this might be a nice way to sort of roughen up a path that's too smooth. And any of these, if you double click on them, allows you to tweak their options so that maybe that was too much wrinkling. So I could take my intensity down, I could take down the vertical wrinkling, I could deal with complexity or detail. So all those things are tweakable so that you don't just have to deal with the default settings for those things. The next tool down off there is the Free Transform tool. Free Transform tool is basically just like the selection tool. Gives you handles. You can do scale, rotation, etc. Thanks for that tool. And then below that we have the Shape Builder tool. Oh God, I shouldn't go here right now. No, in fact, I'm not going to. We're going to get into these later, so I'm going to skip those, and we're not going to get into perspective. Don't even click on this thing. If you do, and then you click off of it, it does this. Your perspective grid is on, which is cool, but you might actually toggle this thing by accident when you do, I think it's Shift P maybe on your keyboard. Anyways, it's a pain in the butt to get rid of. So you can go to View, Perspective Grid, Hide, and let's go away. So those are the basic transformation tools along there. A quick introduction to those with some toast. I think that what I would like to do is I'd like to put some butter on this toast. I'll use the rounded rectangle. I'm going to get rid of a stroke. I'm going to make my butter nice and yellow. And I'll just kind of slap it on here. I'm going to need to make it, there we go, there's my piece of butter, slightly angled. Now if I went in and warped it, I can start to smear the butter all over my toast. See, there's a practical application for one of the tools I just went over. I'm putting butter on my toast. There's some nice buttery toast. That's going to be good. You know what's going to be even better? It's going to be better when I have taken a bite out of this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an ellipse And just so we can see it, I'll make it red. There's my ellipse. I'm going to go in and grab my scallop. Is this going to do it for me? It's not. What if I double click on that thing and check out my settings? Height, complexity. I don't. Angle, intensity, brush. I just want bumps. I don't want. Okay. All right. Maybe I got this. Oh. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Somewhere it's going to be just perfect. There's the perfectness over there. All right. So that's the side I want. I'm going to use that. And I'm going to make it bigger. And I'm just going to put it right there. Oh, it's too big. Rotate a bit more. Put it right there. What do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to take... Oh, shoot. Is this going to work with this shape? We'll see. Pathfinder. Minus front. Terrible. Nope. That's not going to do it either. Poop. No, I don't want to merge. I don't want to crop. I don't want to outline. I don't want to do minus back. Trim. Nah, it's going to take that whole stroke. I was going to make this a magical moment, and it's getting too complex. I'll do it twice. I'll do it once with the butter. Hold on, I'm going to have to... Okay. You guys are watching me try to be cool and problem solve at the same time. So, I am going to copy that shape, and I'm going to select the butter first, and I'm going to take a bite out of the butter. There's my bite out of the butter. Now I'm going to paste in place so it comes right back where it was. I'm going to select my toast and my bite shape. I'll do the same thing, minus front. Okay, alright. But this is now in front. I have to put it behind. And it's close. It's close. You know what's causing me trouble is that stroke. Because it just wants to redraw that stroke there. I would need to create the stroke as a separate shape. And if you want to see what I would do, I guess I'll just do it. Object, path, outline, stroke. Now that stroke is a fill. It's no longer a stroke. What I'm going to do is I'm going to separate these things. I'm going to go into, well, it's kind of a group. If I double click on it, you can now see that I can select these things separately from each other. So I'm going to cut the outer bread shape, and I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to paste behind, which is Command Shift B or Edit, paste and back. So now it's pasted and back. Looks the same, but it's a fill instead of a stroke. So then I would select this, copy it just so I have it there again, and I'm going to do the background now. And then, excuse me, paste in place, select the bread center, and select my bite mark. And now, for whatever reason, this always comes in front. I just have to select it and put it in back. There's the bite taken out of my buttered toast. I didn't plan on doing that, obviously. Otherwise, I probably would have made that work a bit more smoothly. But at least you can see some application of those transform tools and what what cool stuff you can do with Illustrator. But probably most important out of just watching that, if you actually finished, was being able to watch me problem solve and throw in a couple of tricks. There are a lot of tricks, a ton of tricks that I am not going to show you in this class just because it's it's an introduction to Illustrator, and there's just not enough time. Time is a big issue, but there's a whole world that you can just dive into yourself, and go through tutorials or go through the help menu and find your own solutions to things. But I'll keep throwing you a few tricks throughout the semester here. That was some good toast. I think I'm gonna need a glass of milk now.